Okay. The abuse started, I guess, again, because the other abuse wasn't remembered, when I was around 35. That went on for a 10-year period, or near as of. That went on for 4 years, and until I, tried to take my own life and found the strength, I suppose, to take back me. And that's when the letter started, which was the time. There was a reference in there all the time. Within the letter, he would say this one thing, you'll always be my little brown girl. And I knew it meant something to me, but I didn't know why or what. And that went on for some weeks, really, probably a couple of months. And then one day I read the same words, and they meant something. And I realized, and sort of, it was a bit like taking the lid off Pandora's box, because the memories came flooding in. I didn't want to own them. They were alien to me. I always thought my childhood was happy. So I wanted to remove myself from that situation. But the reality was that was my situation. That was my life. So it wasn't until I was not sure, or 40, I suppose, that the childhood abuse memories came back to me. So if we were to say in all, there was a period of time when I left home. I was about 2 months off 16, and my stepfather said to me one day, if you live within his home, I live within his rules. And even at that point in time, I knew I couldn't live within those rules, but I really didn't know why. But something deep within my conscience must have told me that I needed to, to get out of that place, and, to leave those sort of things behind. So I got on the bus. I went to the centre of the town I live in, and I joined the Royal Air Force. And I was away, I guess, for 4 years. I then came home, married my husband. So I never actually moved back into the family home where my stepfather was. But to be honest, if I try and think how long has he affected my life, probably forever, since my mum remarried when I was 7.
Yes. It started when you were 7 years old, now that you can recall? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So thank you for putting it in reference. I've worked with people who have, been molested as babies, age 2 on up, and the impact of the age, the confusion, having to turn your brain off, your presence off, the dissociativeness, the amnesia associated to it. When you began to wake up, gee, this did happen to me, and look at these crazy things he's continuing to do. When you began to wake up, what did you do with the you had become, not remembering those items?
Well, I've thought about this question so many times. You don't know you anymore. You question who you are, because your memories aren't the ones that, were relevant at that point in time, before that sort of clematis event is sort of remembered by yourself. I was lost. I didn't know who I was for many years, and I suppose, until I met that lady, like I've said earlier, then I found myself again. But you don't know you. You don't trust your instincts. You don't trust your memories. You don't trust anyone around you. You become an island. You get so insular, and you sort of go inside yourself, really. Because the only person you can trust is the person who looks back at you every day in the mirror, and that went on for an awful long time. And I know there's people out there listening that are understanding these words as I'm saying it to them. You have to find you, and I say this within every interview, because I'm always asked, what was the major thing in my life that sort of altered the way I was, as in dealing with what happened to me. And it's all about forgiveness. Forgiveness, I had to forgive me, because the child within me, we all have that, and I had to forgive me for the what I thought was my my input to what had happened to me, and there was no input what happened to me. I was a child, but when you remember as an adult, you think you should have been able to stop that, or to change it, or to do something differently. What did you do or put out there that made that happen to you? Because you must have done something. The fact of life is that's not true. You were a child, so 1, forgive you. 2, forgive your abuser. And I'm always sort of questioning on that one. Why would I forgive him? And my answer to that is I forgive him. I haven't forgotten, because forgiving isn't forgetting. I still remember it, but I have to let go, because if I don't let go, I will continue to drag that along with me. My past will stay there. He will stay there, not by his making. He's been gone for many years. He's only here if I allow him to be. So I have to forgive him. So, forgiving is not forgetting. That's a memory you'll always have, but you learn to live with those memories, because if you forgive, then you can let go. If you don't, then you'll carry on forever with this, this weight on your shoulders, and this, this awful feeling inside your head that there's something you did. It isn't true. You did nothing. You just happened to be there, but you were a child.
Wow. Okay, so now this word forgiveness. I've in working for 32 years with individuals who have been survivors of sexual abuse. There was an era, and Teresa, you may kind of know about that since you may have gone through a lot of books or looking for a lot of answers, where forgiveness was the avenue to people being able to let go, just like what you were saying. However, what I experienced with these people that I had a chance to be part of their recovery was that it wasn't that they began to be vexed about feeling guilty about not being able to forgive. And it was almost like that became the tormentor, was I should forgive, I should forgive, I should forgive, as opposed to